I want to college. I don't want to have to pay like $1,000 to go to college.
I mean, I understand that it takes a lot of money for the colleges, like the water support and and electricity and everything that they need. You shouldn't have to pay for knowledge.
I got a job first at the help desk at Marist. Later on that semester, before school started though, I got a job at Pea Ridge, across the street from Marist, where all kids go when they're wasted.
I am a student assistant at the admissions office. I'm really lucky to have this job because usually you have to become an ambassador, you have to be a tour guide, and then you can become a student assistant.
I started yoga my freshman year in the fall, and I just loved going to class. It wasn't until freshman year in the spring, I was on the crew team at the time, someone wanted to do yoga, and someone just shouted out, "Oh, hey, have Charles teach the class."
I've worked at the Millbrook Winery. So I guess for the past 3 years, I also will babysit, cat sit, dog sit, and also do a bit of catering. And I did a bit of restaurant work on the side for a bit.
I didn't do it for very long, but I was a stripper. That was a very good income while it lasted.
Freshman year, I was an office assistant in Florence, Italy. My sophomore year, I worked with Sodexo as a caterer. This year, I worked at Planet Wings, which is a restaurant in Poughkeepsie, and I did that for most of last semester and this semester.
Do you know how much college costs for you every year?
I know it's a lot.
Marist's tuition and room and board together is what, like 45,000 or something?
Yeah, a lot.
The reason why I transferred out of Marist was due to lack of financial stability. At first I was hesitant because all my friends were at Marist and I had a really great time. In the long run, I did not want to be in debt.
So do you pay for school? Do you contribute to it? Or do your parents pay? Or how do you...
The types of jobs I had, they were usually either minimum wage or low income jobs. So they weren't the type of jobs that I would be able to pay off my tuition by having.
I'm doing loans, but I've been paying off my loans as I've been going.
Most of the money that I would get would be just to help me out with living costs.
College books. It was great paying like $200 worth of books in ones.
When I first started teaching, I taught for free, but when they offered me money, it's one of those things, we're taught not to be attached to our actions, but money does become an issue.
I wanted to go abroad to London, and London is an expensive place to be. I kind of took one job for stuff like rent and food, and then I took the other job so I could have more money to go to London.
I signed up for this job with the intentions of just working, getting some money to help kind of cushion the blow of like going abroad the first year.
I felt like I kind of owed it to my parents.
I haven't had weekends in about 3 years, so yeah, I don't really know what it's like to have a college weekend, so to speak.
There were years or semesters where I'd be teaching 6, 7, almost 1 or 2 every day.
I did it probably 5 to 6 days a week, including obviously the weekends, but I would have a full day on campus going to classes and working, and then usually from around 6 to 11 and during the weeknights I would rush from campus to go to work.
I loved it. I never thought it was overwhelming. It just seemed like something I could provide to people.
Time commitment wise, it was tough.
I think I worked about 15 hours at the help desk, and I want to say it was around 15 at Pea Ridge too, so I think I worked like 30 hours a week.
My sophomore year was about 20 hours a week. Junior year I did the same. My workload was starting to develop and I was getting more invested. Now I can barely fit in like 7 hours a week because I have a pretty hefty internship and my classes are a lot more work intensive.
In the beginning of the semester, I thought I could handle it all, and I was completely wrong.
In the beginning, it wasn't bad, but after like a couple weeks, I felt it was very degrading. That's eventually why I quit.
I think I became sick, physically ill, like lymph nodes inflamed and stuff like that, from the beginning of November all the way, and they didn't go down until I got to London.
If you get a night shift at Pea Ridge and you hate it, you might be getting enough to feed yourself, but it's not worth the stress.
I can't even use weekends to catch up on work, so everything I do is usually done late at night on weekdays, and I'm usually up until at least like 3 a.m.
I think people need to realize that as much as they're trying to be pragmatic about their expenses, they also have to take in their mental health into consideration.
You think that guys who go there for like bachelor parties or whatever, and you know, they're just there to have some fun. Most of the people who go there are not like that. It's a lot worse to some extent than a lot of people think. You shouldn't take it personally because it's like it's a job. After a while, I very much took it personally.
I mean, I lucked out where one of the things I'm most passionate about in life is something I get paid for.
I don't see it as like, a shift I have to get through. I come here and I'm like looking forward to seeing my boss and my coworkers and all the other student workers.
If I didn't have this yoga job, I would have a lot of stress on where I would be paying for, my dinners and how I'd be paying for college.
A lot of the admissions counselors are really good about working with people if they really want to come here and if they're qualified to come here. They don't want to have someone not be able to come here just because of financial reasons.
I did not get a lot of money for it. I only got one scholarship and it didn't even make a dent.
I know a lot of people, feel that they're not getting as much as they would like, and I think that's something that goes way bigger than Marist, and I think it's a huge problem in our country.
Yes, I think college is way too expensive.
It bothers me to think that we've become profit centers instead of commodities.
My question is, where's the money going?
I have so many friends who are well over $30,000, even $100,000 in debt.
How is someone with that kind of debt supposed to start off their own careers or move out of their parents' homes?
Especially if you are one of the students like me where you're having to work to kind of foot that bill, you see the effects of it way earlier than someone whose parents are paying for everything.
If you're a full-time student having, quote, a respectable job, it's impossible because no one wants to hire you as a student. Even if you are hired, you can get a job on campus, but you get paid $8.50 an hour.
There's a lot of different solutions, but it just sounds really ridiculous when you say, what if we were to give people equal stakes and have them be equal stakeholders by when everyone turns 18 or 21, you give them a share in the economy. The more I think about it, I think that could help a lot of people get out of poverty.
Look at every country and how desperate their needs are. Number 1 or 2 is always water or education, food or education. But education is the way you accelerate anyone.
We're seeing one play out right now with the presidential election with Bernie Sanders' proposal of free college, but then the question is, how are you going to pay for that?
I think Bernie is a cool solution, but I'm kind of still worried about, I feel like it's too easy to say something could be free.
What if kids don't have the money to go to college when they get in? If they can't pay for it, how are they supposed to do it?
I think it's a good idea, but fiscally we don't have the money. If we did this 20 years from now and we weren't in deep debt, yes, it's a great idea. Right now it's not fiscally possible.
I feel bad for people who are living on the side of New York, on the sides of the road. I saw a guy sleeping underneath a blanket in a garbage can. I mean, that's probably because he couldn't go to college and get a degree to go to school.
I agree with him, and I think there should be reform. College tuition's ridiculously expensive, and it's really out of balance with whatever job you're gonna get when you get out. You could be signing on for a 20-year loan when you're 20 years old.
College is a big part of jobs, and jobs is a big part of money, and money is a big part of living and surviving. So basically, if you don't have enough money for college, then in some cases you don't have enough money to live.
How old are you?
10.
I think what he's saying about education is the direction we need to go. Pragmatically, do I think it could happen? I don't know. I think it's a harder sell, but I think the great thing about Bernie is he's forcing us to have the conversations that we need to be having.
The higher education bubble is gonna burst. We're pricing everyone out of the market. No one can afford college. Everyone's drowning in debt. I think Bernie Sanders coming in with free education or government subsidized education to a further degree is a huge idea. European countries are doing it and doing fine. Germany's doing fine. He's awesome. He's got it.
And what young people are saying is, how does it happen when we did the right thing? When we went out and got the best education that we could, and we're ending up $30,000, $50,000, $70,000 in debt. Why would we be punishing millions of people for getting an education? We should rewarding people, not punishing them.
For some reason, I just feel like it's for the renovations. Like, I don't know anything about the politics behind, you know, raising tuition, but I feel like they're taking more money from us to put stone on things. My personal opinion, you know, I don't know
Cover
if
it
that's
all
true or
in
not.
rocks.
Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure it's just to put stones everywhere on campus.